for another DCUO video, and today I thought I would bring you, mainly because I haven't played with this character in forever, but I thought I would bring you a 2017 Quantum DPS Loadout. Now keep in mind before we get started, as you see there, the combat rating of this character is not as high because I haven't played with this character in a while, so the damage numbers won't be as potent, I guess I should say, as if I was using my main character, but I still wanted to show you the loadout that I'm using. So without further ado, let's get right into the power trees now. For the time tree, this is where you're going to put the majority of your power points. You're going to go all the way down to the left, all the way down the right, because these will basically be the powers you will be using. Time bomb will be the main oomph of your loadout. In the space tree here, 3 down the middle to get warped reality, which will be your attack buff, and I also just put it into I put a power point into oblivion, which is a supercharge. You will have one like space left in your loadout, so you can really use that for anything. Some people use it for like event horizon, to kind of like use as a shield, especially like if you're in like an alert, a raid, survival mode, something like that. But I decided to use it for damage because that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about DPS rolls. So and then in your iconics trees you have 4 powers left over, so obviously as per usual you want the 2 DPS ones, weapons expert, tactical genius, to get your critical attack chance and damage. And then in the case of quantum being a controller power, in case you do feel like being a troll, I went with the troller powers, which are intimidating gaze and wisdom of Solomon. So, with the loadout itself, if I can actually get up there, what is this thing doing? Okay, so we have from left to right, we have Warp Barrage, which is your controller debuff there. Power interactions, destabilized enemies take extra damage. We have Tachyon Blast, destabilized, polarized, or enemies that are graviton charged take extra damage, which is very good. Distortion Wave destabilizes enemies, making them vulnerable to time dilation effects. Oblivion causes your target to be graviton charged, making them vulnerable to future fluctuations in gravity. So in the case of using this supercharge in particular, as you see, gives you the graviton charge power interaction. And if you remember from back here, Tachyon Blast, so if you were to use Tachyon Blast after you used Oblivion, you get more damage from that, so that's all good. Like I said, Time Bomb is going to be your main bread and butter, I want to say, your main oomph of the loadout itself. Destabilized enemies take extra damage. And Warp Reality causes your target and other nearby enemies to be graviton charged, making them vulnerable to future fluctuations in gravity. So now Quantum isn't really a top tier DPS power, I wouldn't say. So you know, it's really not, it's not as strong as, you know, sorcery, or I'm trying to think of some of the other things that are like top tier. God, I can't even think right now. But basically, you know, it's not as good as like sorcery would be. It's not as good as earth would be. It's not as good as ice. But you can still do a decent amount of damage if you do the rotation right. You know, really any power can, if you do it right, can sort of, you know, give you an edge, give you the oomph that you need to be a good, at least a good DPS. Now, I know some people will say, in the case of something like electricity, you may never be a top DPS with electricity, but, you know, we're going to do our best. As long as you have fun with the power, you know, it's not all about, you know, being serious and being the top #1 DPS all the time. But, so as far as the rotations goes, we're going to go from, in this case, for me, it's easier to go from left to right. Or should I say, I'm going to start with Time Bomb and go left to right. For most of you who can actually use the 2 hands, it'll be just easier just to kind of go straight across left to right. So what we're going to do is, there's no weapon attack. So you want to remember too that you can spec totally might, much like ice, much like mental, much like fire. You can pretty much just spec totally might You will not need a weapon attack at all, unless, of course, you happen to run out of power. But basically, the rotation is going to be, you're going to hit Time Bomb, you're going to clip that with Warp Reality, and then just go left to right. So you're literally just going to go blap, 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 blap. Now, the main thing you want to remember, too, is you want to have Time Bomb going at all times. It should never be not used. So once again, you'll go bop, 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 and then as you get through the rotation, you'll be able to go right back through. And now see, you know, they're not, of course, like I mentioned, my CR here is not immensely huge compared to the sparring target, so the numbers themselves will be lower, but you can still do decent damage. Like I said, this isn't like a top tier DPS, but if you're someone like me who enjoys the animations of Quantum or just wants something a little different, this is perfect. And it's a really easy loadout. It's a super duper easy loadout, much like Ice, much like Mental. Like I said, you don't need a weapon at all. You don't need a weapon at all. May I even venture to say that if you don't want to use a supercharge, you can use one of your extra power points to actually, whoop, that's the wrong thing. You can go in and use Robot Sidekick if you want a little bit extra damage. I mean, sometimes having that little extra pet damage can, you know, make a little bit of a difference. So one more time, let's go right through it. So you're going to just go clip, and then you're just going to go straight through, and then you're going to do that, and then you're going to go straight through. If it'll work, there we go. So like I said, you always want to have Time Bomb going. Whoops. Always want to have Time Bomb going. You know, and you can, it's almost like atomic in a way too. Once Time Bomb does hit, you get a big might hit number, but that's basically what I'm working with here. Not so bad. Let's do this one more time just to show you. So once Time Bomb hits, like I said, it like almost takes a second for the damage to start rolling in, but once Time Bomb hits, that's when you start getting all your numbers. Like I said, it's super duper easy. All you're really doing is going straight through. La 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 la. See, and then once Time Bomb hits, you're going to be hitting some super, some big numbers. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section below if you'd like me to do some other updated 2017 loadout videos for DPSing or PvP or whatever. I have done sorcery, I've done earth, now we've done quantum, so we still have quite a few powers to do if you guys want to see them. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, we shall see you soon.